with Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook. This is Racing Dreams.
Oh, we knew when the name was created, Racing Dreams, that it was perfect for this industry, and they're coming true every week. What about last week, Julie?
Oh, good morning, Timmy. Good morning to you at home. I tell you what, Royal Randwick last Saturday was incredible. More than 46,000 were trackside for that race last week. It was a 10-race card, and the sun was shining. The atmosphere was electric. It was probably, I think, the best Everest to date.
Absolutely, and Giga kicked the way to the top of the Everest. It was quite extraordinary. Let's have a look at what's coming up on the show today.
27 years of age, and in his first 18 months as a trainer, Clayton Douglas has conquered Everest. The man behind the Everest spoilover will join us live this morning.
Front page hands jockey Tyler Schiller his biggest ever birthday present is winning the Kosciuszko on his 24th birthday.
Not bad. And she's the lady behind the lens, capturing some of racing's most iconic moments. We introduce you to equine photographer Ashley Brennan. I cannot wait for you to meet Ash. Very talented individual.
Absolutely.
Well, as we said, a crowd of more than 46,000 were trackside at Royal Randwick last week to witness the 6th running of the world's richest race on turf, the Tab Everest.
Yep, in its short history, this race has delivered some incredible moments, including this.
Everest of 2022, and we're ready to go. The gates are back, they're off and racing. Eduardo jumped well, so did Nature Strip on the outside, overpass there, and Joyful Fortune is showing very good muster on the rails. They swing now, Eduardo and Nature Strip head and head up the rise, and a thriller here on the Everest, and Nature Strip given the cue by McDonald, and the champ races to the lead by a length on Eduardo. Private Eyes running on, then came over past Shades of Rose, Jacquino and Giga Kick. Nature Strip a length in front, Private Eye, Giga Kick down the outside, wins the Everest. The unbeaten 3-year-old's done it. Giga Kick beat Private Eye. Then Nature Strip, Jacquino and Marzu.
Giga Kick has won the Everest, the first unbeaten horse to win the Tab Everest. The 3-year-old, the longest price winner in the history of the race, has stormed past the best sprinter in the world to create a huge upset. Craig Williams and Clayton Douglas have done it.
Oh, they did it all right. He was a $21 outsider and had the world's highest rated sprinter to take down, and it was quite extraordinary.
Oh, but for one man, what 3-year-old Giga Kick achieved on Everest Day was no surprise. Winning trainer Clayton Douglas joins us now. Good morning to you, Clayton.
Thank you for having me on.
I got goosebumps watching that back. How has this week been for you after such an extraordinary achievement on Saturday?
Yeah, look, it's been a bit of a whirlwind week. Obviously, a lot of media stuff, and no, look, it's been great. It really has. I've been able to meet a lot of people, and obviously back to business as usual. Obviously with our other horses, and to think that he came out on top, I'm still sort of pinching myself. So it's amazing.
It was a fantastic week in so many ways. We had a chat at the Barrier Jaw, and one of the things that stood out for me was the first time I met you, we're having a chat and interview, was that all through the interview process, all through the week, you were one thing, and that was confident in the ability of your racehorse.
Yeah, look, I had a lot of faith and confidence in him. Probably he's sort of stamped himself as a very good horse now, but I felt that the horse is very good, and he's got a beautiful temperament and beautiful action, and he's got everything to turn out to be a really lovely horse, and he's still got a lot of developing to do. So, he's only going to get better with a bit of age under his belt.
Well, last Saturday he was technically 2. He turned 3 on Wednesday of this week. Talk us through what you were thinking during that race, because I was lucky enough to be actually standing nearby and watching you and watching your reaction, which was incredible, and we will show that vision in a moment. But what were you thinking as this race was playing out in front of you?
Yeah, look, he's had a bit of a tendency to be slow away, and probably he probably wasn't too badly away, but he just in that high pressure field, he's probably a little bit further back than we may have anticipated. But look, Craig got him into a nice rhythm. When they started coming around the corner, I'm thinking, geez, we've got a lot of ground to make up here. But look, he sort of balanced, and once he got up underneath Marzu, you could see for about 50 metres he really quickened really strongly, and was able to sort of fight him off, and then come to the outside of him in about the furlong, and then he sort of had really a lot of momentum up, and that's when I started jumping up and down.
Oh, yeah, it's great vision. Look, you do it all yourself, don't you, Clayton? You ride them, you're with them, the alarm clock goes early, you've got this set up over the past year and a half. It costs money. How much did your bank account get giga kicked by last week, and how much does that help?
Yeah, look, that's exactly right. You know, being a young business owner, everything goes into it. You obviously got staff and overheads, and it's all that sort of stuff as well. And you work very hard at the same time. So, yeah, obviously, to be able to get that prize money's been a massive kick to a young trainer like myself, and just puts me in a good position in the fact that, we can build on infrastructure and, accommodate what we want to accommodate for. And no, it's a great thing, and hopefully we're not done with yet.
You said it yourself, it was a beautiful ride by jockey Craig Williams. How instrumental was he in this journey for you and for Giga Kick as well?
Yeah, look, he's been a great part of my team. He's just a good human in general, to be honest. He's, obviously with everything he's doing with the Ukraine at the moment. And, he's been a great asset. He's, he was the one that really probably got Jane Tarrant to kick Giga Kick in the end. Craig's got a lot of faith in the horse, and, it's probably paid off. He was, obviously with the Caulfield Cup meeting on, he really wanted to stay with Giga Kick and come up and ride him. And, for him to make that decision was probably a massive one for him, and it was rewarded with him getting it right. So it's been great.
Finally, what about today? Another work day, of course, huge day at Moonee Valley with the Cox Plate.
Yeah, no, I was soaked before, so I quickly got back. I knew I had to get on here, so I tried to put some dry clothes on. We've had a heap of rain down here, so today's racing's going to be interesting. I haven't got any runners, but I am going to the Cox Plate, so 11 races today with 2 Group 1s. It's going to be a great day.
Just before we let you go, very, very quickly, where is Giga Kick headed next?
Yeah, look, Giga Kick, I decided yesterday that we will bypass the Coolmore and we'll go to the Champions Sprint on the last day of the carnival. That gives us that extra week. So it's 3 weeks from the Everest into that race, which really suits us. And obviously, he'll be taking on Nature Strip. So very exciting. It's going to be intriguing race again. Back down to Melbourne, back up the straight. There's a lot of variables. But yeah, look, we're obviously 2 from 2 up the straight, and I think the horses come through the Sydney run in really good order. So I'm really looking forward to it, and can't wait. Round 2, ding ding. Good on you, Clayton. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Clayton.
Now, he was the man who guided Giga Kick to victory in the Everest in a ride that, as we heard, Clayton Douglas said apprentices should take note of.
Craig Williams came second in the inaugural Everest, but on Saturday, it was his time to shine.
The way that the New South Wales Race Club, they really promote this race. People that never followed racing before are following it. So in its 5 years now, this is the 6th running. then you can see how much good promotion's doing. The racing is thriving. People are seeing how much love we have for the equine athlete, the thoroughbred, and what goes into it. And again, this is another great story. And we still can't lose tradition, but every time you see these horses line up, it's a privilege for a rider to have a ride in this race.
Take us through the race, mate.
Clayton was really happy with him in the yard. He had the earmuffs on, first time big occasion, first time against older horses, his 5th ever race start. He was really confident. He was so happy the way the horse came through. I walked the track again throughout the day. Clayton's been in twice to have a discussion. I trust him as a trainer, he trusts me as a rider, and then we had to trust the horse today, and he came out a little bit tentatively and then he started racing a little bit. I was happy in the line that I chose after walking the track. Once he actually straightened up, he was actually only just going, but when he felt pressure like the door was going to close on him, you could just feel him pick up from underneath me and surge, and then next minute we come around the group of horses and see Brent Abdallah take that, dashing in between horses, Nature Strip running in front, but he just had that will to win. And when I spoke to a person in my team after he won a Caulfield, I then said to him, this horse can win the Everest. I just didn't think it would be a month and a half later, so credit to this horse, credit to Clayton Douglas.
Now to the chess game of the Everest, and when is the right time to choose your horse? Well, the winner this year waited till almost the very end.
He wanted the X Factor, and slot holder James Harron, I think it's safe to say, got just that. He joins us in studio. Good morning to you, James.
Hey, good morning.
A very good morning.
You said sometimes it is the horse with the best story that wins.
Well, it's a wonderful game we're in, isn't it? And it's often the truth. It's been a wonderful story. It's been an amazing ride for everybody involved, and I think seeing Clayton, incredible how quick a week goes, but seeing Clayton on TV again this morning, his world's been turned upside down, all for the positive.
What were your expectations? Because Nature Strip was such a favourite, even out of the wide gate. What were your expectations for Giga Kick before that race started?
Look, you only dream about actually winning these races. You can never expect a result like that. Craig Williams was pivotal in us making the decision and his assessment of the horse and where he thought he would land in the race. And he kept telling us he's a top 4 chance. He's a top 4 chance. So how right was he?
Oh yeah, unbelievable. Well,
talk us through your thoughts in the race, because it's such a fast, it's so much to take in. It's such an atmosphere, there's so much going on. What were you thinking as you watched this 1,200 metres play out? Yeah,
Julie, it was a real roller coaster. Firstly, the day itself, just walking in the gates, was just extraordinary. The vibe, the atmosphere, what the ATC put on, and Race New South Wales should be very proud of themselves. It really was an amazing day. So everyone was very excited. When the gates opened and he was slow out, I sort of really felt quite negative about the race. We were thinking we'd be 5th or 6th, just behind the speed. We were second last. As they got round the bend, we were still there. He had a lot of work to do. Nature Strip looked like he was cruising. And just to see him slowly start to make up ground and build the revs, momentum was amazing. And even at that point, I thought we might run top 5 or 5th or 6th. I never thought we were going to win still at this point. So for that final bit, I said to people after, I don't think I've ever been involved in a more exciting finish ever, really, with such a magnitude of this race. It really was an amazing day.
How do you compare your first win? Of course, you were part of the first win on Red Zell in the very first year of the Everest to this. Your business has changed as well and grown.
Yeah, look, they're all so special, and you're very lucky, and they all mean different things at different times. I think the way the race is built from year one to what it was now, the day itself was just huge. So your adrenaline's running. So, to have that type of a run and that type of a result, the horse was 20-1. So,
I didn't have a cent on it.
Yeah, I think my wife was the only one.
I know, Ali got on
our team. But look, it was amazing, and it meant a lot, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. It was the wonderful story is there's a huge amount of people behind this, not only the slot and the horse and all of Clayton's team, so it really has done a lot of good to a lot of people's lives.
What does it say about Clayton? 27 years of age, 18 months into his training career. The very next morning, he was in the box with Giga Kick and Frankie, the travelling companion, and Craig just cleaning out the stables. as we've heard this morning, very laid-back individual. But what does it say about him and I suppose the effort that he's put in with this horse? And it's all those little 1%ers with him too, because he rides him, he travels with him, he doesn't leave him. Yeah,
look, absolutely. I think it's the old school training, you know. He's involved, he can sit on him, he can get a feel for him. I mean, I love that. I think that horsemanship's so important to get these big results, and it's wonderful that he's been rewarded so well. I think we've potentially witnessed a star, you know, in Clayton, and he's got an opportunity now to springboard off this and create, you know, what looks to be a wonderful career ahead of him.
I was very fortunate to be at the table at Entrata, a wonderful restaurant near you and I, with little celebration lunch, and he left early. He left early because he had to go and feed the horse.
Yeah, I know. It was really amazing to see that commitment and the dedication, and you know, he's, you know, it's man and horse. It's his best friend. You see the relationship he's got with the horse. He even brings a little Shetland pony around to keep
Frankie.
the horse comfortable. Those are all additional expenses and things that, you know, would put a younger trainer just starting under pressure. And he's left no stone unturned. He's dotted every I, crossed every T, and look, that shows that hard work pays off.
It's a big call to make. Giga Kick will go head-to-head with Nature Strip in a couple of weeks' time. Could we be seeing the changing of the guard with Nature Strip and a horse like Giga Kick?
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, you need these fresh horses coming through. We've seen a few of the big hardheads dropping off the last few years. I still think Nature Strip, I wouldn't sort of give up on him just yet. We've seen him turn it around many a time, and you know, I think it's lining up to be just a fantastic race in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
Everyone will enjoy that one.
Finally, today we've got Cox Plate, we've got great racing in Sydney. You've got some interest as well.
Yeah, we've got a few runners in Melbourne. We've got a 2-year-old called Mexico, kicking off in the Inglis banner. $500,000 race which Inglis put on for graduates of their sale. And a horse called Crosswinds, provided the track sort of stays okay. And then the big Cox Plate, which is super exciting. Good friend of mine who knows his form very well, very keen on Waller's horse, El Bodigan. So look out for him.
Yeah, the international raider, not one knows too much about that. Animo, a profound favourite in that race, and we didn't even mention Jacquino, but that was a crazy run as well. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tim. Great to see you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Julie.
Well, stay with us. Coming up, if you were a young jockey, what would you want for your 24th birthday? I won't ask you. Wagga Wagga Hoop Tyler Schiller wanted to win the world's richest race for country-trained horses, and he did just that. We catch up with the Cosy winning jockey up next.
Well, there's nothing like a sparkling blue day in the golden west of Sydney. It's my home ground. It's where I grew up. I popped out to the race day at Warwick Farm to catch up with Kosciuszko winning jockey Tyler Schiller and his mentor Mark Newnham. Let's relive this year's Cosy winning run from the champion apprentice jockey on board the Def Dure train front page.
The Kosciuszko about to get underway. The gates are back and they're off and racing. Hand of the Troop was last out of the barriers. Commando Hunter's well back and Learn Melody jump well together with Talbrigar, and Front Pages pushing through the middle. Far Too Easy's found the gap and starting to power to the line. Front Page at the 200 leads by 2 lengths. Far Too Easy's giving him chase. Front Page a length and a half to Far Too Easy. Then Finn to the outside. Front Page in front from Far Too Easy. He keeps going. Front Page, and he's the headline this year. Front Page wins the Kosciuszko, beat Far Too Easy. Fender third, I think, in front of Cavalier Charles and Art Cadeau.
Front Page finally does it. He was picked for the last 2 Kosciuszkos. They had to withdraw through injury. Third time lucky. And happy birthday, Tyler Schiller.
Usually doesn't plan out like that. If you want to win a big race on your birthday or Melbourne Cup Day or something, you always struggle to complete it, but it all worked out on the weekend, and the horse pretty much did all the work for me. He jumped and put himself in front, and I didn't actually want to be there, but he was too tough for him in the end. It's a great feeling doing it for those connections. They're great people, and he's a super horse.
Mark, you must have been very proud. Tyler's been with you for a couple of years, won the apprenticeship last year, he's leading this year.
Yeah, look, I certainly give the boys a big cheer when they contest any race. So, you know, $2 million race at Randwick, I was willing it over the line.
Did you still squeak in a late night kebab after the Kosciuszko?
No, I didn't actually. I just went and met with the Jurays and their owners. It was a very quiet night. I had an hour the next day.
That doesn't happen often, does it?
Oh, that's a great level about racing, you know. So even I get asked quite often, you know, how do you keep the boys in line after they've had a big win? But they'll be at work the next day mucking out boxes. That generally brings you back to earth pretty quick.
Oh, absolutely. So what does it mean to you winning the Kosciuszko? Obviously, you're at the start of your career.
Yeah, it's one of my bigger achievements, and I think it's one of Jeff's bigger achievements as well. So for us to both do it on the same day, it's a really great feeling, and I'm very humbled to be able to be a part of that. Hopefully I can win some better races into my career, but for now it's one of the best I've had, and hopefully we can keep going forward.
It's a great story of resilience, yours. You're only 24 years of age, broke your back in a car accident. At that point you must have thought, I'm never going to achieve what I wanted.
Yeah, definitely. When it happened, it was all very traumatising. They said I probably wouldn't ride again, so I'm very grateful to be where I am. My back's been super. I haven't had an issue with it, so I'm very lucky.
Do you feel like you had a second chance?
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
How important is it to bring young jockeys through, Mark? Because we look at Theo Green in the past, we look at Ronnie Quinton and all the work he did with Huey Bowman. They're just a couple of examples.
Yeah, oh look, it's a massive part of our industry. I mean, if you look around our jockey room, there we've got a few of our better jockeys ageing a little bit, which gives the young guys a chance. But you know, personally, it's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy having the boys there and trying to help them on, you know, achieve what they want to. And it pretty much, racing at least rewards people that work hard at any level. So, you know, if they come there with the right frame of mind and a little bit of determination, they usually get there.
And Tyler, some great incentive. Being a country boy, the Kosciuszko, of course, a fantastic race for country trainers and everyone involved. But now we have the big dance, the little dance, other incentives. How important is it for regional and rural racing?
Yeah, to be able to race for that money, obviously the country trainers on the weekend, I'm sure it boosted a lot of stables there, and it puts them up in the spotlight for that one race. It's a bit like the highways on the weekend, just being able to go for that money. It's a big deal for them, and it's pretty much like winning a Group 1 when they can go around for that sort of money. It really helps the bottom line in the industry and keeps us alive.
Well done and happy birthday. Jeez,
yeah.
Not bad for 24.
Absolutely.
Well, today marks the second running of the $2 million The Invitation, featuring a select field of Australia's 12 best mares.
One trainer who has been looking to the skies this week is trainer Chris Lees, and he joins us with that sweet Novocastrian grin. How are you, Chris? Now, your man Never Talk lines up in the invitation today. Tell us.
Yeah, she does, Tim. Yeah, we were really chuffed to get an invite into the race. So she takes a place. She's come back in really good order. 2 runs would suggest she's going as well as she can. She's a back marker, so she relies on a few things to go her way. Need a little bit of tempo up front, and in a perfect world, probably a little bit more rain would help, but she'll be really strong late and she'll make a presence felt.
I was about to say, have you been doing a rain dance all this week or what for this one?
Oh, look, to be fair, you know, we've had enough rain, haven't we? But a little drop throughout the day wouldn't worry me.
What about barrier 14? Is that a concern?
Oh, look, she's a back marker. In a perfect world, she'd draw a little softer and race, you know, 2 or 3 lengths closer in the run. But we'll ride a conservative, give her a chance to be strong late, and at least from 14 she can get a bit of clear air, and she really reacts well under those circumstances.
So we believe that you're about to jump in the truck as well and make the trip to Sydney. Is she on the way?
She's about to load and get going, and I'll go home and shower up and get in the car. We're not until race 7 today, so we've got a reasonably late start, so we're able to get things finished around the stables and then head down.
Great to see a race named in Kenny Callender and Max Presnell's name, the inaugural Callender Presnell, and of course you've had a lot to do with those gentlemen. They're great fellas. Your dad did. What would it mean to you for sentimentality for Flag of Honour to get the job done?
Oh, it'd mean a lot. They're 2 icons of our sport. You know, I think anyone in my vintage grew up reading both papers and reading, you know, 2 so well-spoken men and people who really knew the industry. So to have a race named in their honour is a huge huge accolade for both of them, and to have a runner in the inaugural running of it. So certainly a thrill for us, and I don't know if we can beat the favourite, but I think our horse will run really well.
Yeah, how is he looking? Lightly raced 3-year-old. What are you expecting from Flag of Honour today?
Yeah, he's a really smart horse. He's still pretty much in his first preparation. He had a little freshen after two wins, so he's lightly raced. He's probably going to be a better horse in the autumn, but blinkers on today. We'll ride him just back off the speed, and I think he'll run really well. Whether, as I said, whether he can beat Golden Mile, we'll see. He's coming off a really good win in a Caulfield Guineas, so he's got the proper form, but I think you'll know our horse is there.
I couldn't beat time with the stick last Saturday out at the Everest. I had a great day, but I just could not find anything. Get out stakes today. You've got a couple in race 10 in Sydney. What do you think of these two?
Two nice horses, both imports. Acquitted's first up. He ran well first up in his first Australian preparation. He worked home well. He's a place chance, but I think he'll be better going forward off the back of this run. Snook, she won quite well at Canterbury, albeit in softer grade on really testing ground. So if any rain comes throughout the day, that'll bring her right into play. I think she'll run very well as it is, but any rain would certainly enhance her chances.
And Willinga Beast running at Moonee Valley today as well.
Yeah, we decided to send her to Moonee Valley. They've got a lot of rain down there just throughout the morning, which she does favour. And I think she just suited around that tighter turning track. She's won at Canterbury before. She's done a lot of work Melbourne way of going. So she looks to bring the right form for a race like that. And I think she's possibly our best chance on the day.
Well, we're looking at you at the backdrop of Newcastle Racecourse, and of course it was Lost and Running last year that won the Hunter. You have lived within a kilometre of that place or close enough to it your whole life, haven't you?
Yeah, certainly have. I haven't travelled far at all. I think in the background you could see my old school, Merriweather High. So this has been my stomping ground. I haven't travelled far, but we're very fortunate now to have a race like $1 million race, another initiative of Racing New South Wales. So we've been very fortunate here. We've got a wonderful training track and race track, so I'm pretty comfortable here.
And just quickly before we let you go, speaking of initiatives, the Big Dance at Randwick, November 1. What do you make of this concept? And it's looking like you've got a few good chances as well.
Yeah, another initiative for horses that have won certain country cups throughout the state. Our stable's fortunate enough we've won 4 of the country cups that were qualifying races. So to be fair, 2 of them are genuine chances. 2 probably will be pretty big odds in the race, but the 2 chances being Hosier and Rustic Steel coming out of a Coffs Harbour and Scone Cups, which are traditionally 2 of the stronger country cups. So looking forward to Tuesday week with both horses.
I hate to do it to you. It's the toughest question of the interview. The Newcastle Knights, can they turn it around in 2023?
We just followed the women's team, Tim.
They did well.
They will. They certainly did. Look, I think they can turn things around. The town will be right behind them, and hopefully, hopefully a couple of new signings in the next week or 2 might shed a bit of light on things. Hopefully.
Talk about optimism. All right, Chris Lees, thank you so much. All the best in your travels to Sydney today, and all the best with the invitation and the calendar presentable as well.
Yeah, thanks both. Cheers.
Next on Racing Dreams, we go behind the lens with one of Sydney's finest equine photographers.
We introduce you to Ashley Brennan as part of our Women in Racing series. That story's coming up next. Welcome back. You're watching Racing Dreams. Joining us now with the latest markets update for PointsBet is Dale Daisy Thomas. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Days.
Good morning, team. Great to be with you here on another Saturday and another cracking day of racing. Randwick in Sydney, of course, the Valley of Dreams, Money Valley, call it what you will, down here in Victoria for the greatest 2 minutes in sport, of course, that being the Clocks Plate. Let's start up in Randwick, though, with the Spring Champion over the 2,000 metres for the 3-year-olds at Group 1 level. And the markets indicates this will be a very even edition of this race. Elliptical, $3.90 favourite there and pretty sold in betting. She's Extreme, a real nibble valuable for that runner. 5.50 into 4.50. Williamsburg, rock solid there at 5.50. Prometo there, $7, as is Sharp and Smart. Matcha Latte for all those coffee drinkers who like a bit of green in their tea, $9.50 for that runner. Double figure odds the rest, which is Renaissance Woman, has gone from $6, drifted right out there to $15. The other feature, of course, on the card is the Invitation, 1,400 metres, and the PointsBet punters have been happy to back plenty of runners here in a wide open affair. Ice Bar trying to go back-to-back will be your favourite, but at $5 certainly backable there. Espiona at $5 as well. Forbidden Love, $6 crunched in from $7.50 when markets opened. Nimalee been a touch easy, $5.50 out to $6.50. She's a belter, $14 when markets opened into $11, $13 or better the rest of the field. It's going to be some cracking racing up there in Sydney, but we do have to turn our attention to the Valley of Love, Money Valley, where we start with the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. Race 8 it is, 2,500 metres, Group 2 level, and again, a pretty wide open affair. Francesca Guardi there, $3.80 is your favourite after an outstanding second. Nearly got skittled at the 600, flew home for a second there, so punters thinking that form can be recaptured. Persan, $4.60, $8 Desert Icon, Grand Promenade, both been rock solid. Luna Flare's been a touch easy, $6 out to $8. The Amazonian there at $9.50, and Sacramento, 14s into 12, is amongst the rest of the runners the punters are giving a chance. Then it becomes the big one, the Cox Plate. Set it off the top. The greatest 2 minutes in sport, and what a field we have assembled. Animo, $2.40, and absolutely rock solid here at PointsBet. Al Bodegon, $5, was $6, was $8. The rain has come for that runner. The wetter, the better. Trying to do what the last 4 winners of the Cox Plate, not called Winks, have been all internationals having their first start in Oz. That form may just be repeated. Zaki, $6. Gold Trip, in at the trip, loves it there at $12. I'm Thunderstruck, $12, but the punters happy to settle on 3 in that what is going to be a cracking edition of the Cox Plate. If you are going to have a bet today, of course, head across to the PointsBet app. You download it. Now featuring racing.com form. Get experts' tips, race previews, form factors. We now also have light mode on the back of your screen there, so you can see the white screen there, and it is going to be a cracking day of racing. If you are going to have a bet, of course, please remember, Tim, Julie, to gamble responsibly, and I will get this one right today. Back to you in the studio.
Looking sartorially elegant, isn't he?
Oh, he looks good.
Yeah.
He looks
Looks
good.
like he could play for Collingwood again.
Don't tell him that. This spring, we've been introducing you to some wonderfully talented and passionate women in racing. This week, we're taking you behind the lens with Sydney equine photographer Ashley Brennan.
Now, born in WA, Ash took a punt on herself and made the journey from west to east to pursue a passion in photography.
I'm Ashley Brennan. I'm a photographer here in Sydney, specialising in equine. I was born into racing. My family were all into horses. My auntie trained, my uncle owned Grantham's Horse Transport. And, you know, growing up, my school holidays was spent in Ascot with Auntie Kelly, and before the telly was on, before anything was allowed to happen, it was throw the hays, pick up the yards. Yeah, no, very, very horsey my whole life. I always used to put things together. They might not necessarily have been my photos, but I loved the production of putting things together. And then I was working in an office and I got Employee of the Month, and it was a $200 voucher to, you know, like Kmart, Target, Officeworks. And I went into Officeworks and there was a camera for $200, and I said, that'll do. And I just started taking photos of my parents' horses at the stables. Everything I've done self-taught. It was the Inter-Dominion with the trotters and harness at home, and it was the first year of the series, and I met a lot of people from the east, and trainers and drivers and just owners, and I just realised that there was so much more to the world than WA and my family, and I'm such a family orientated person. Like, I didn't ever think I could be apart from them, that I've never thought of moving. And when I met them people and realised that there was more out there, I said, I'm going to move to Sydney. And then it came the night before, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm about to pack up a little Mazda 2 Neo, green, of all colours, and drive it across the Nullarbor to Sydney on my own. I'm always a firm believer that you've got to trust your gut. Everything that I've done with this business is for my grandparents. They gave up a lot of their life to raise me, and to repay them, everything that I do is for them. And when I moved and when I started ABP, everything that I do with this business, I just want to make my pop proud. You know, he died unfortunately when it just started, and you know, I just learnt to edit flies off a horse. It wasn't, you know, I'm photographing the Everest tomorrow, you know, I don't get to make them calls anymore. So yeah, everything I do is for him. I've been in Sydney now for 6 years. Majority of it was with harness racing. And then 3 years ago, I decided that it was either go home and start a completely different profession or switch codes to the gallops. And I'm so grateful that I switched to the gallops because my life has changed completely. I feel like I got purpose now. When I moved across to the gallops, it was a brand new light for me. I met new people. The only person I knew in the gallops was Tommy Berry. Three years later, it's like an empire. I can't believe actually how big it's gotten, particularly in the last couple of months. One of my favourite photos would be, particularly with the family connection with the Berries, was when Stay Inside won the Golden Slipper, and I got an image here of Tommy coming back to scale and pointing up at the sky to Nathan. I didn't quite know I had it. Like, I know I've got the shot, and that happens every race day. You think you know you've got it, but you actually don't know if you've got it because everything is so fast. When I got back to my laptop and I seen it, I got really, really emotional because, you know, that was for Nath. And there was no other words but for Nath. And I've blown that image up and given it to Tommy as a 30th present, and I know it's in his house, but that one by far stands out to me the most. I think a lot of our job is we get to go to the stud farms and we get to see them as a foal. And then when you see that as a foal, then go through the sales ring, to trials, to the racetrack. This isn't a job for me. It's like I see these horses come back from their spells and go through the trials. I see them in track work. I go to the stables. I see them at the beach. You grow a connection with certain horses, and then when you see them on race day, you feel like you're a part of it all.
Great to have your company on Racing Dreams. Of course, Grahame Begg. The Begg name is a very famous name in horse racing in this country. He has a horse called Lunar Flare, a Melbourne Cup chance, racing in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup today. I caught up with Grahame at the Cranbourne Stables for a chat about his current runners and to reminisce about his dad, the legendary Neville Begg. Take a look.
He came up, from being a boy sent down from Newcastle, went and worked for Maurice McCartan. He actually broke Todman in, and he was his stable foreman for a lot of years, and then he went out and branched out on his own and trained at Randwick in his own right, and he had lots of battles with TJ Smith over the years as far as the premiership go. Tommy won 33 in a row, and I think he ran second to him about 11 times in a row, so quite amazing.
Your dad is still at 91, still flying along?
Yeah, no, very active and right on the ball, and he watches a lot of the races. He still does all his breeding, and he's always looking pedigrees in sales catalogues and things like that, and he's got a sharp eye still.
What do you think you picked up mostly in those early days when you were growing up in and around stables your whole life? Patience.
I think you can't beat it. You know, you just got to read the horse and just let them tell you where they're at, and be patient. You just can't get it all done in one hit. So if you've just got to be able to give them the time and be able to develop the horse, and that's one of the main things.
I always think of a horse like Emancipation when I think of your dad, and you were around during that time. Can you give us a little bit of a You know, your thoughts on Emancipation as a horse and what it meant for the stable?
We were very fortunate enough to have Emancipation come into the stable. She was very quirky. She was a big, strong, aggressive horse. She was aggressive on the ground and she was aggressive to ride. You know, track work. She knew she was pretty good. And you know, Ronnie Quinton was her race day jockey. I think he only missed out riding her once when her and Ronnie rode her. The rest of her wins, I think she won 19 out of 27 starts.
In some of those races.
Yeah, she had some great battles, but she was very, very good at weight for age. She was magnificent filly. And
which were the best of the wins, do you think?
Oh, I think probably her last start win when she beat Sadapa in the all-age stakes was one of the best wins.
On top of the rise, Sadapa's in front of Emancipation, but the mare has plenty left on the inside rail, and she's kicking again. The rider feeling for the whip on Sadapa. Emancipation just in front, 100 out, and she's kicking away from Sadapa. She's got him beaten, the mare, and Emancipation strode home to win it well. Emancipation beats Sadapa.
Yeah, no, she was a great filly, and she had a great record.
And I remember one of your quotes, I was reading it just the other day, where you said, oh, that's Sydney's grand final, done. How things have changed. It's extraordinary, isn't it, how the Sydney Carnival now goes all the way through to November.
Yeah, that's correct. And, you know, so they're trying to overtake the Victorian market a little bit. But, look, I think Victorian racing, it's tried and true over the Spring Carnival. And, you know, there's market for both. You've got that opportunity if you want to take the choice of coming to Victoria and race. For us down here, it's easier for us to stay in our own backyard. It's pretty hard going up to Sydney because it's stiff competition.
The 4 o'clock alarm, does it ever hurt, Grahame, or you jump out of bed?
No, I don't think you ever jump out of bed, but when you've got a good horse in your stable, it makes you get out of bed a bit earlier.
I'd get out of bed a bit earlier if I had a little pony to go to every morning.
Yeah, I could imagine you would, Jules. I could imagine you would. Now, the Sydney Everest Carnival continues. I'd get out of bed earlier if I had a bacon and egg roll. Just the scent of it.
Different inspiration.
The carnival continues, and I digress. Of course, Spring Champion Stakes Day today. Our resident tipster, Brad Gray, always dressed $1 million. How are you, Bradley?
Yeah, good, thank you, guys. I'm just still getting over the Everest hangover. What are we, a week on? And you're still feeling that come-down effect, aren't you? But it was a cracking day. I'm still trying to work out how Giga Kick won. But anyway, onwards and upwards, and hopefully we can find a winner today.
Well, I was about to ask you about that because we were watching the race together. The Everest atmosphere last week was extraordinary. It was just incredible. But then that race and the way it played out up until that last 150 metres, you just had no idea where it was going.
Absolutely, yeah. Just when you think you've got this game figured out, the racing gods has a cruel way of just reminding you that he's always in control. So it was a fascinating day's racing, wasn't it? And as you say, Jules, the atmosphere out there was incredible. It wasn't until I got home and watched some of the vision of the drone footage over the top of the crowd that you got a true appreciation, really, of just how many people were crammed into Randwick. There was not a spare spot to watch that race, and it certainly delivered.
You've got to accentuate the positive when you're looking back. You sort of forget that you didn't pick Giga Kick. And you have to accentuate the fact that you did pick Front Page in the Kosciuszko, and you tipped that at a decent odds as well. So well done there, Brad. 10 races today. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say he was really good, wasn't he? Front Page, he did it at both ends. He burnt the candle at the start and then was still there at the finish. So big win from Front Page, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Now 10 races on the card today. What do you like?
All right, so we've got the Spring Champion. That's the feature today, of course. Now, I'm with the filly here. Now, I've been with the fillies all throughout the carnival. I just think they're a really strong crop, this 3-year-olds at the moment, punching around in Sydney. Now, I know she had a chance, She's Extreme, behind Zougotcha in the Flight Stakes last start, but I think that's the strongest form reference coming into this. You throw into the pot there that she's going to roll forward. There doesn't look to be a lot of speed in the race, and historically, it took the fillies a long time to win the Spring Champion for the first time, and that was only 6 years ago. But since then, the floodgates have actually opened, and 3 of the past 6 runnings of this race have been won by the fillies. So I think Anthony Cummings and Glenn Schofield, they're on the right horse here today, and she'll run a mighty race. She's Extreme, the filly.
All right, race 9, the Invitation.
Yeah, the Invitation. So Ice Bath is a defending champ here, so I think she sets up really well. Now, she is a mare that just the deeper she gets into her preparation, the better she tends to go. So she's 5th up now. I think she's absolutely at her peak. Yes, she was a little bit disappointing. I do concede that in the Epsom, but we're talking about a Group 1 Epsom here against some pretty handy horses. We've seen what Ellsberg has done since. So I think if she bounces back to her best, she's beautifully set up to defend her crown today. That's Ice Bath.
We saw the Tap Craig a few weeks ago, and today it's the Calendar Presnell, two fantastic guys in horse racing. Of course, Kenny Calendar and Max Presnell in race 7.
Yeah, two icons of the sport, aren't they? Two gentlemen that I've certainly looked up to. Being a young pup coming through the media ranks, and yeah, if you can be half as good as either of those guys, you're doing a fantastic job. But I think the favourite wins the first running of the Calendar Presnell, that being Golden Mile. His form speaks for itself. He's a last start Group 1 winner in the Caulfield Guineas. He meets this field under set weights, so that means that every runner in the race gets the same weight there. So if it was a handicap, he'd be carrying considerably more than his rivals. He was fantastic in the Golden Rose, a big winner of the Ming Dynasty. Yes, I know he's $1.80, but all being equal, I just think he's too good.
All right, let's bring your fancy graphic up now and talk us through your roughies for today.
Yes, so the best bet is in the Spring Champion. That's She's Extreme. We've already touched on her. Now, one of the roughies, the price has already been taken. So, Jules, you must have been up this morning taking the price before the punters could get on for the show. But that's race 10. Coal Crusher. He'll go to the front for Joe Pride. I think he's going to be very hard to run down. And one a little bit earlier is race 3. That's the meeting's midway. He's right up the top there. I think he's number 2, Astero. I think he's set to run a bit of a race here first up. So, Astero and Coal Crusher as the best roughies across the day.
Does Animo win the Cox Plate? What do you think?
It's a good race, isn't it? I was just having a look at the forecast before. It looks pretty grim down there in Melbourne. So I guess a genuine heavy track throws a little spanner into the works, but he's a gun, isn't he, Animo? He should win.
Yeah, there are some real go-forward conversations on this international raider.
Yeah, he's been backed. I was looking at the market just before I came on air. El Bogadon, I think that's the pronunciation, if I've got that right. The international for Chris Waller, and he does have a heavy track win to his name. So, yeah, every chance that he can go right on with it.
All right, Brad, we look forward to seeing you trackside at Rosehill Gardens next week for the Golden Eagle. Thank you very much this morning. And thank you very much this morning as well. Thanks to our great sponsors, Racing New South Wales, Arrowfield and PointsBet.
Yeah, we'll see you live, Rosehill Gardens next week for the Golden Eagle. Catch you then.